It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Seneca wrote that 2000 years ago, and it's beautiful. And it's also, for the purposes of this video, completely beside the point. Because what I'm about to show you has nothing to do with craving more. It has to do with what's being quietly taken from you while you crave nothing at all. So let me paint you a picture. You did the responsible thing this month. You sat down, you went through your bank statement, you found the gym membership you weren't using, the streaming service you forgot about, the app that auto-renewed for $11.99. You cancelled them. You felt good. You felt in control. You posted about it maybe. Just saved myself 50 bucks a month, feels great. And here's the thing, that's genuinely good. Auditing your subscriptions is smart. But here's what most people don't realize. While you were proudly hunting down that $11.99 streaming charge, three other subscriptions were running in the background that you will never find on your bank statement. They don't show up as a line item. They don't send you a renewal email. There's no cancel button. And they are draining you of an amount that makes that streaming service look like a rounding error. I'm not talking about Netflix. I'm talking about subscriptions you never signed up for that institutions enrolled you in automatically, silently, and permanently. Hidden insurance premiums you're overpaying without knowing. Localized inflation adjustments quietly eating your purchasing power based on your zip code. And silent banking fees structured so precisely that they're designed to be invisible. Three invisible subscriptions, costing the average household thousands of dollars a year. And here's the part that should genuinely make you angry. Most people will spend 20 minutes canceling a $5 app and 0 minutes addressing leaks that are 50 times larger. Today we're finding all three. We're putting a dollar amount on each one. And I'm giving you the exact cancel button for every single one of them. My name is Slime Johnson. This is Slime's Wealth Academy. Let's go. If you're someone who feels like you're careful with money, like you watch your spending, you cancel what you don't use, you do the responsible things, and yet the money still evaporates faster than it should, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it helps you out. Because today we're exposing the leaks that careful people miss, not because they're careless, because these leaks were specifically engineered to be invisible. No shame, no doom. Just the mechanics of how institutions quietly enroll you in costs you never agreed to and exactly how to opt out. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to find money you didn't know you were losing. Part 1. The history lesson. How Invisible became a business model. To understand why these three invisible subscriptions exist, you need to understand a shift that happened in how businesses make money. And it goes back further than you'd think. Let me take you to 1882. A man named John D. Rockefeller forms the Standard Oil Trust. And Rockefeller figures out something that changes commerce forever. Something so powerful that regulators eventually had to break his company into 34 pieces. He figured out that the real money isn't in the dramatic, visible transaction. The real money is in the invisible, structural, repeating one. Rockefeller didn't get rich charging people a lot for oil once. He got rich controlling the pipelines, the railroads, the distribution, the invisible infrastructure that took a tiny, unnoticed cut of everything. Forever, the customer saw the price of kerosene. They never saw the structure underneath extracting value at every step. Now fast forward. Because this principle extracts value through invisible structure, not visible transactions, became the blueprint for the modern financial economy. Here's what most people don't realize about the shift that happened over the last 50 years. In 1970, the financial sector made up about 4% of US GDP. By the 2020s, it had grown to around 8%, roughly doubling its share of the entire economy. The financial industry didn't double in size because it started providing twice as much obvious value. It grew because it got extraordinarily good at the Rockefeller insight, building invisible, structural, repeating extraction into the background of everyday life. And here's the genius of it from their perspective. Behavioral economists have a term for why this works. It's called the pain of paying. Research by Drazen Prelec and George Lowenstein at MIT in the late 1990s demonstrate that the human brain experiences a measurable, almost physical discomfort at the moment of a visible payment. It's why paying with cash feels worse than a card, and a card feels worse than a tap, and a tap feels worse than an automatic charge you never see. So institutions did the logical thing. They moved as much of their extraction as possible out of the visible payment category, where your pain of paying brain would notice and resist, and into the invisible structural background, where you'd never feel it at all. A visible $11.99 charge triggers your pain of paying response. You notice it, you cancel it, but a 40 a month overcharge baked into your insurance premium, a 6% price premium built into your local cost of living, a banking fee structured into the fine print, those trigger nothing. No pain, no notice, no resistance. That's not an accident. That is the business model. And it's the direct descendant of what Rockefeller figured out in 1882. So let's expose all three with numbers. Part 2, the data. Meet the three villains, okay. Let's name them one by one and put a real dollar figure on each. And I want you to keep a running total in your head because the combined number at the end is the part that should make you sit up. Invariable subscription one. The hidden insurance premium, this is the biggest one, and it's the one almost nobody audits. Here's the mechanism. You buy insurance, auto, home, renters, and then you do the thing the insurance companies are counting on. You set it and forget it. It auto renews every 6 or 12 months and you never reshop it. You assume the price you're paying is the price the product costs. It is not. Here's what most people don't realize. Insurance companies use a practice that consumer advocates call price optimization. It's the practice of charging existing loyal customers more than new customers, specifically because the data shows loyal customers don't shop around. Your loyalty is not rewarded, it is penalized. The longer you stay, the more they can quietly raise your rate because they've calculated that you won't check. A 2023 analysis by the Consumer Federation of America and multiple market studies have found that consumers who fail to comparison shop their auto insurance overpay by an average of approximately 20% to 40% relative to the best available rate for their exact profile. On an average annual auto premium of around $2,000, that's an overpayment of $400 to $800 per year for the same coverage, for the same driver. The only difference is that you didn't reshop and someone else did. Add home or renter's insurance where the same loyalty penalty applies and the hidden insurance premium for a typical household lands in the range of $600 to $1,800 per year. That's invisible subscription number one. You never see it. It's baked into a number you already accepted and it renews automatically forever until you stop it. Invisible subscription 2. The localized inflation adjustment, this one is the sneakiest because it hides behind a word everyone uses and almost nobody examines. Inflation. Here's the thing. When people hear inflation, they think of a single national number. Inflation was 3.4% this year. But that national number is an average, and averages hide enormous variation. The inflation rate you actually experience depends heavily on where you live and what you buy. And here's the part nobody talks about. Lower income and working class households systematically experience a higher personal inflation rate than wealthy households. Economists call this inflation inequality. Research from the Federal Reserve and academic studies, including work published through the National Bureau of Economic Research, has documented that lower income households often experience inflation rates 1 to 2 percentage points higher than higher income households over time. Why? Because a larger share of their spending goes to the categories that inflate fastest: food, energy, rent, and essential goods, while wealthier households spend more on categories like electronics and travel, which inflate slower or even deflate. And then there's the localized piece. We talked about this in the poverty premium video, but it bears repeating here in a different frame. Stores in lower income and less competitive areas charge more per unit for the exact same goods. A USDA study found grocery prices in low-income neighborhoods running 5% to 10% higher than in higher income areas of the same city. So here's the invisible subscription. If your personal inflation rate runs even 1.5% higher than the headline number because of what you buy and where you live, on a household spending $40,000 a year on goods and services, that's an extra $600 a year in purchasing power silently evaporating. And it compounds. Every year, the gap widens. This is a subscription to a higher cost of living that you never signed up for and can't foresee cancel, but as I'll show you, can significantly reduce. That's invisible subscription number 2. Call it $600 a year and climbing. Invisible subscription 3, silent banking fees. The third one is the most precisely engineered because banking fees have been refined over decades to sit in exactly the blind spot of human attention. Let's start with the obvious but ignored. The average overdraft fee is around $35. We've covered in previous videos that Americans paid roughly $7.7 billion in overdraft fees in a recent year, and that 9% of account holders generate 80% of that revenue. But overdraft is just the loud one. The silent ones are worse because you don't even get the dignity of noticing. Monthly maintenance fees. The average monthly maintenance fee on a checking account that doesn't meet its minimum balance or direct deposit requirements is around $12 to $15 a month. That's up to $180 a year just to hold an account. A fee that millions of people pay without ever registering it because it's a small, regular, automatic deduction. Pure pain of paying avoidance. It's structured to be unnoticeable. Then there are the others. It's ATM fees, averaging around 473 cents per out-of-network transaction when you count both the bank's fee and the ATM owner's fee. Low balance fees, paper statement fees, wire transfer fees, foreign transaction fees, account inactivity fees. And here's the one that's genuinely insidious. The savings account that pays you 0.01% interest while the bank lends your money out at much higher rates. We did a whole video on idle cash, but in this frame, if you're holding $10,000 in a traditional savings account paying 0.1% instead of a high yield account paying 4.5%, you're giving up around $450 a year in interest. That's an invisible fee disguised as a non-event. The bank isn't charging you $450. They're simply not paying you the $450 your money earned and pocketing the difference. Added up maintenance fees, ATM fees, the occasional overdraft, and the interest you're not earning on idle cash, and the silent banking fee subscription runs a typical household $400 to $700 a year. The combined so let's total the three invisible subscriptions. Hidden insurance premium, $600 to $100. Localized inflation adjustment, roughly $600. Silent banking fees, $400 to $700. Combined, the three invisible subscriptions cost a typical household somewhere between $1,600 and $2,400 per year. Let's call it $2,000 as a reasonable midpoint. $2,000 a year that you never see, that doesn't show up on the statement you proudly audited, that has no cancel button you've ever been shown. And here's where it gets really interesting and genuinely infuriating. That $2,000 a year, if you redirected it into a broad market index fund earning a historical average of around 10% over 30 years, becomes approximately $360,000. $360,000. That is the compounded cost of three subscriptions you didn't know you had. That's not a streaming service. That's a significant chunk of a retirement, quietly extracted, a little at a time, through invisible structural leaks. Part 3. The twist. Why you hunt the $5 leak and nego a $2,000 one. Here's the part that ties this all together. And it's a genuine quirk of human psychology that institutions understand better than you do. You will spend 20 minutes canceling a $5 subscription, and you will spend 0 minutes on a $2,000 leak. Why? There is a documented cognitive bias for this. It's related to what behavioral economists call salience, the human tendency to focus on what's vivid, visible, and clearly labeled, while ignoring what's abstract, hidden, or structural, even when the hidden thing is vastly more important. The $11.99 Netflix charge is salient. It has a name, it has a logo, it shows up on your statement with a date and a dollar sign. Your brain can grab onto it, feel the pain of paying, and act. Canceling it produces an immediate satisfying sense of control. The $40 a month insurance overcharge has no name, no logo, no line item. It's blended into a number you already accepted as just the cost of insurance. Your brain has nothing to grab onto. There's no moment of pain, so there's no trigger to act. And so it persists year after year after year. Here's what most people don't realize. Institutions have explicitly optimized for this bias. They know that a cost with a name and a face gets cancelled. So they work relentlessly to make their extraction nameless and faceless. The fee gets buried in the premium auto-renews. The banking charge is a small regular deduction. The lost interest is simply never paid. Everything is engineered to avoid the salience that would trigger your resistance. And then, this is the cruel part. They let you feel like you're winning. They're perfectly happy for you to cancel your $5 app and feel financially responsible, because that feeling of control actually makes you less likely to go looking for the real leaks. You did your money audit. You feel all done. The $2,000 leak is safe precisely because the $5 cancellation made you feel like you'd already handled it. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Slime, this is making me feel insane and powerless. It shouldn't. Because here's the flip side, and it's genuinely good news. Salient problems require ongoing willpower. You have to keep choosing not to spend. But structural leaks, once you fix them, stay fixed. You reshop your insurance once, and you save $600 a year automatically for years. You move your money to a no-fee, high-yield account once, and the silent banking fees stop forever. You don't need willpower. You need one afternoon of decisive action, and then the savings compound on autopilot, the same way the leaks were draining you on autopilot, just reversed. The invisible subscriptions were working against you automatically. We're about to make the savings work for you the exact same way. Part 4, the present day. The exact cancel button for each one. Alright, this is the part that actually changes your bank account. 3 invisible subscriptions, 3 specific cancel buttons. Let's go in order of biggest payoff. Canceling invisible subscriptions on a shit 1. The insurance premium, this is your highest dollar move, and it takes about an hour. Step 1, pull out your current auto and home or renter's insurance declarations. Note your exact coverage levels. Step 2, get quotes from at least 3 competitors for the identical coverage. Use an independent broker or a comparison service. They can quote multiple carriers at once. This is the single highest value hour in personal finance. The Consumer Federation data suggests the average person who does this saves hundreds of dollars a year, and for some, over 1,000. Step 3, reshop every single year, or at minimum every 2 years. Set a recurring calendar reminder, because the loyalty penalty starts rebuilding the moment you stop paying attention. The institutions are betting you'll reshop once and then go back to sleep. Don't. Step 4, ask specifically about bundling, raising deductibles if you have a healthy emergency fund, and any discounts you're not getting. And check whether your credit-based insurance score is dragging your rate. Improving it directly lowers your premium in most states. Canceling invisible subscriptions too. The localized inflation adjustment, you can't cancel inflation, but you can dramatically reduce your personal inflation rate which is the part that actually affects you. Step 1. Attack the highest inflation categories where you have flexibility. Food is usually the biggest. If you have any access to a lower cost grocer, Aldi, Lidl, a warehouse club, shifting even part of your shopping there can cut your grocery costs 14% to 17%, which directly lowers your personal inflation rate. We covered this in detail in the poverty premium video. Step 2. Buy non-perishables in bulk when prices are low. Inflation hits you hardest on frequent small purchases at full price. Buying staples in bulk is effectively locking in today's price against next year's increase. Step 3, and here's the most powerful one. The only real permanent hedge against your personal inflation rate is to own assets that inflate alongside or faster than your costs. This is the entire reason investing matters so much for working households specifically. If your cost of living is rising 1.5% faster than average, then keeping your long-term money in productive, appreciating assets isn't optional. It's the only thing that lets your wealth outrun your personal inflation rate. Cash loses this race, ownership wins it. Canceling invisible subscription 3. Silent banking fees. This one is the easiest to cancel completely and you can do most of it today. Step 1. Switch to a checking account with zero monthly maintenance fees and no minimum balance requirement. Credit unions and online banks offer these widely. There is no reason to pay $180 a year to hold your own money. Step 2. Move your savings to a high yield savings account paying 4.5% to 5% instead of the 0.1% a traditional bank pays. On $10,000, that's the difference between earning $1 a year and earning $450. Same money, same safety, same FDIC insurance, just a bank that pays you instead of pocketing it. Step 3. Eliminate overdraft and ATM fees structurally. Use a bank with fee-free ATM networks or ATM fee reimbursement and set up low balance alerts so an overdraft never happens. Don't rely on willpower, rely on the alert. Step 4. Audit the one-off fees. Call your bank and ask them to list every fee on your account in the last year. You will be surprised. Then systematically eliminate each one, paper statement fees, inactivity fees, all of it. Here's the beautiful part. Every one of these is a one-time action with permanent results. You're not signing up for a budgeting app, you have to check daily. You reshop the insurance, you switch the bank account, you shift the grocery habit, and then the savings run automatically in the background for years. The exact same way the leaks were draining you, just reversed. Part 5, the honest take, no hype, no doom. Look, I need to be straight with you because this is where a lot of financial content goes off the rails into conspiracy theory territory, and I'm not going to do that. These institutions, the insurance companies, the banks are not a shadowy cabal twirling their mustaches plotting against you specifically. Their businesses operating rationally within a system that rewards exactly this behavior. Price optimization is legal. Loyalty penalties are legal. Low savings rates are legal. The system permits invisible extraction, so businesses do it because businesses do what the system rewards. Getting angry at one insurance company misses the point. The point is structural, and the response is structural. And I want to be honest about the limits of what I've shown you. Some of these leaks you can close almost completely, the banking fees especially. Some you can only reduce. Your personal inflation rate is partly a function of where you live and what you earn, and a YouTube video doesn't fix structural economic inequality. I'm not going to pretend reshopping your insurance solves a systemic problem. It doesn't. But it does put real money back in your pocket. And for the individual household, that's what's actionable today. I also want to be fair. Not every fee is a scam and not every insurance premium is a ripoff. Insurance is genuinely valuable. Being underinsured to save a few dollars is a catastrophic mistake waiting to happen. The goal is not to pay nothing. The goal is to pay the correct amount for the value you're actually getting and to stop paying the invisible premium on top of that for the crime of not checking. And on the broader picture, since this is a wealth channel, the reason these leaks matter so much isn't just the annual dollar amount. It's the opportunity cost over time. The $2,000 a year these subscriptions drain is the same $2,000 that, invested consistently in a diversified low-cost portfolio, becomes a meaningful piece of your financial freedom. The market's future returns are uncertain. Valuations are elevated. And I've told you to plan for more modest returns than the historical average. But here's what's not uncertain. A guaranteed $2,000 a year that you stop losing is a guaranteed $2,000 a year you get to keep and redirect. Plugging a leak is a risk-free return. There is no market volatility on money you simply stop wasting. The future is uncertain. The correct response isn't panic and it isn't conspiracy. It's to control what you can control. And these 3 leaks are entirely within your control. Here's what I need you to carry out of this video. You've been trained to hunt for the wrong leak. You've been taught that financial responsibilities looks like canceling a streaming service and feeling good about saving $5. And that feeling, that satisfying sense that you've done your money audit and you're in control is exactly what keeps the real leaks safe. The institutions figured out what Rockefeller figured out in 1882. The real money isn't in the visible transaction you'll notice and resist. It's in the invisible, structural repeating extraction you'll never feel. the hidden insurance premium, the localized inflation adjustment, the silent banking fee. Three subscriptions you never signed up for, with no cancel button you were ever shown, quietly draining around $2,000 a year, which is $360,000 of compounded future wealth. But here's the thing the institutions are betting you won't realize. Every one of these is fixable with a single afternoon of decisive action. Reshop the insurance. Switch to a no-fee high-yield bank, reduce your personal inflation rate and own appreciating assets. You do it once, and the savings run on autopilot for years, the exact same way the leaks ran on autopilot against you. Stop spending 20 minutes on the $5 app and 0 minutes on the $2,000 leak. The biggest subscriptions bleeding your wealth are the ones you can't see. So go look for them. Now that you know exactly where they hide, they are not invisible anymore. And once you can see a leak, you can finally close it. If this video showed you a leak you never knew you had, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who are quietly losing money they have every right to keep. Subscribe to Slime's Wealth Academy if you're not already here. We break down the real mechanics of money every single week. No jargon, no gatekeeping, no shame. Drop a comment. Which of the three invisible subscriptions are you going to cancel first? The insurance, the banking fees, the inflation hedge? Tell me your plan. I read every single one. And if you've got someone in your life who just proudly cancelled a streaming service while bleeding thousands through the invisible ones, send them this video. It might be the most valuable hour you ever talk them into spending. I'm Slime Johnson. This is Slime's Wealth Academy. Regular people, real wealth, no gatekeeping. See you in the next one.